Hey friends, I hope you're doing great today. Would you grab your Bible and join me today as we look at Psalm 27? We're going to be spending some time in a couple videos this week digging through this beautiful and this powerful Psalm. 14 verses that speak to us deeply about our relationship with God. I encourage you right now, go ahead and pause this video and take a few minutes to read these 14 verses or listen to these 14 verses and let yourself soak in these verses and see what they have to say to you today. Go ahead, pause, and when you're done, join me again. Hope you paused. Excellent. Hey, I want to focus real fast on Psalm 27, verse 4. Verse speaks to my heart very deeply, and it says simply this: one thing I ask from the Lord, this only do I seek, that I may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, to gaze on the beauty of the Lord and to seek him in his temple. One thing I ask from the Lord, one thing I seek. Essentially, the psalmist is saying, I want to see the Lord. I want to know the Lord. I want to experience the Lord. I want to be with the Lord. I want to be in the presence of the Lord. The one thing I ask, that one thing I seek. I have a question for us today, friends. What are my desires? What are my desires? And then if we can take that question one step further, what is the root of my desires? What are the origins, the genesis, the roots, the most foundational pieces of my desires? In our lives, we can want many things, and we can want many different things for many different reasons. We can want money, maybe because I want control. Or maybe I want money because I have a fear of being without. We can want relationships because we have a fear of being alone, or maybe because we crave the affirmation of others, or maybe because we just love people. We may constantly want new stuff, not because the new stuff is particularly bad, but because we're never content. Maybe we want new stuff because we feel the need to keep up appearances. These are just a few examples. We could give examples all day long of the things we want and the reasons we want them. Some of the things we want are good. The reasons we want them are good. Others might be destructive. And the reasons and the roots behind those desires can be destructive to our lives. Friends, what are my desires for my life? And what are the root of those desires? Psalm 27:4, the one thing I ask, the one thing I seek is to see the Lord, to experience God, to be in his presence, to know him deeply. The psalmist delights in God, desires God first and foremost. The psalmist desires God, and that desire is the root of every other desire in their life. The psalmist desires God, not just what God can do for them. The psalmist wants to see God, is seeking God's face, not just God's hands. Friends, this way of desiring God is rooted in a deep love for God, a deep affection for God. This isn't a legalistic obligation that has to check a box. This isn't out of fear that wants to keep its nose clean so that it can be good enough for heaven. This is purely a desire for God because of who God is, not because of what God does. It's a focus on God exclusively, not just what I can gain or what God can give. I want God, period. Friends, what are your desires? What are the roots of your desires? Can I encourage you today to pause and to reflect? Examine your desires and trace the roots. May we as God's followers be those whose deepest desire is simply and purely for God, because we deeply love God. Because we deeply love God and know we are deeply loved by Him. Friends, we love you, praying for you. Let us know what you think about this stuff. Engage, dig in, trace the roots of your desires, and see how we can love God a little deeper. Hey, we love you. We're praying with you. Can't wait to see you soon. Peace.